The latest news out of Las Vegas has Raider Nation stunned. The team is coming off a game where nothing seemed to click, and even names like Q Blue Kelly, Eric Stokes, and Darian Porter have been part of the conversations. To make matters worse, the usually reliable unit led by Tom McMahon has now faced unexpected criticism. And just when it seemed the pressure couldn't get any heavier, even top draft pick Ashton Jeanty has been pulled into the spotlight. So many questions are hanging over this team, and expectations for the next game couldn't be higher. But before we dive into everything, let's start with the area that most exposed the Raiders' weaknesses in their latest matchup. The Las Vegas Raiders had one of those games in Week 3 where you just want to hit the delete button and pretend it never happened. They got smacked around in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams, you name it. No sugarcoating, no excuses. The team knows it, the fans felt it, and now it's all about how they bounce back. Week 4 is bringing them back to familiar turf, and they're staring down a very winnable game. But the question is, will the Silver and Black show up looking like a team that learned something from that beatdown, or are we in for another rough watch? What really blindsided everyone was how badly the defense crumbled. Sure, they forced an early turnover, and it looked like they might be settling in, but that didn't last. The dam finally burst, and for the first time this season, that defense looked lost. Could have been a mix of things: bad execution, bad reads, maybe just a bad day. But no one in that locker room is denying it was unacceptable. Head coach Pete Carroll didn't shy away from calling it out, especially the secondary. He gave a nod to the corners, saying they showed flashes, but also pointed out how Q Blue Kelly got burned on a double move that led to a big play. That was a really nice play by them, Carroll admitted. But we should have stayed on top. That's what teams are going to do at that point in the game, and we didn't take care of it. He also highlighted Eric Stokes holding it down again, and gave props to Darian Porter for stepping in, making a few tackles, and looking solid in coverage. That was the right time to get him some reps, Carroll said. He's been doing it in practice, and now he's showing it in games. But he was clear. The little lapses, the easy plays they're giving up, are what's killing them. Now, here's the kicker. The Raiders don't get a break in Week 4. They're about to line up against a red-hot Chicago Bears offense that's been lighting it up. If the Raiders' defense doesn't tighten things up and fast, we could be looking at a Week 3 sequel, and nobody in Vegas wants that. This week is all about how they respond. You took a punch? Now what? Let's see if this team's got the guts to get back up swinging. And if that first issue already raised doubts, wait until you hear what came out about special teams. For a team that's usually rock solid in the third phase of the game, the Raiders' special teams completely dropped the ball in Week 3, literally and figuratively. Normally, Tom McMahon's unit is one of the most consistent and dependable parts of the Silver and Black's operation, but this time, they got flat out worked. Special teams had a rough night, giving up huge returns and killing any momentum the Raiders were trying to build. Just when it felt like they might claw their way back into it, bam! Another return, another breakdown, another nail in the coffin. It was uncharacteristic, unexpected, and straight up painful to watch. McMahon, to his credit, isn't ducking the blame. He knows that unit didn't show up, and now it's back to the grind this week in practice to make sure that circus doesn't repeat itself in Week 4. Head coach Pete Carroll owned it too. He didn't just single out special teams, he threw the whole team under the bus, including himself. Fundamentally, we just weren't good, he said. And while he gave props to Dan Quinn and Larry Izzo for having their squad prepared and dialed in, he made it crystal clear that Vegas got beat in every way, especially on returns. Izzo, by the way, used to coach for the Raiders, so you know that one stung a little extra. Carroll pointed out all the little things that turned into big problems. Leverage issues, poor block shedding, bad coverage angles, you name it. All the basics fell apart, and the Bears will be licking their chops if they see those same holes in Week 4. Now it's back home to Allegiant Stadium, and it's do or die time. After 2 straight weeks of disappointment, the Raiders are staring at a matchup against the Bears that's absolutely winnable. But if special teams doesn't clean it up, and if the fundamentals don't return to form, this could be another week of soul-searching in Sin City. But the biggest surprise involves the offensive jewel who was supposed to be the team's immediate spark. 3 games in, and the vibe around the Las Vegas Raiders has flipped faster than a coin toss. Things started off promising. First win of the Pete Carroll era came against the Patriots, and Raider Nation was buzzing. But ever since that opener, it's been a downhill slide. They've been outscored by 28 points in the last 2 games, and Geno Smith has looked completely out of rhythm. The offense? Clunky. The chemistry? off, and rookie running back Ashton Jeanty, struggling to get anything going. Let's talk Jeanty. The hype was real coming into the season. A top 10 pick with game-breaking potential, he was supposed to be the spark in this offense. But right now, through 3 games, he's sitting at 144 yards on 47 carries. That's just 3.1 yards per tote. Not great. After scoring in his NFL debut, he hasn't sniffed the end zone since, and he's slowly disappearing from the passing game. Not exactly the instant impact you'd expect from a generational talent. But before folks start panicking and calling the pick a bust, let's pump the brakes. Jeanty hasn't been bad. He's been stuck. There's a massive difference. And the biggest reason he looks like he's spinning his wheels? The offensive line is a mess. Holes aren't opening. Blocks aren't sticking. And when you're getting hit behind the line before you can even make your first cut, it's hard to flash that elite talent everyone knows you've got. Yeah, fans are second-guessing the draft strategy, thinking maybe the Raiders should have gone O-line early instead of a running back. And with how this line's playing, you can't totally blame them. But it's way too early to slap the bust label on Jeanty. The talent is there. The flashes are there. He just needs room to breathe, and maybe a better game plan to get him into space. Here's a wild stat. Jeanty's rushing totals have actually gone up every game so far. He's getting the ball often, top 10 in carries per game. But what's concerning is how the Raiders are using him. In the passing game, he's practically vanished. No targets in a blowout loss to Washington? That's just bad planning. Early on, they ran some screens and tried to get creative, but lately he's just been stuck running into brick walls. If the O-line can't pave the way on the ground, then it's on the coaching staff to get creative. Jeanty is a walking highlight waiting to happen. He just needs the ball in his hands and a little bit of daylight. Scheme him up some routes, let him work in space, and get that playmaker involved before this season spirals even further. Bottom line, Jeanty isn't the problem. The Raiders just haven't figured out how to unleash him yet. The Raiders are on high alert, players under fire, units collapsing, and a top prospect under pressure. As a fan, it's tough to watch so much instability. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because the next few weeks promise even more twists.